Hey, Jossie and Dav and Daisy, and I've lost track of who's working on the farm at this point. But anybody that's interested in growing, this is the soil sample of the spinach that Daisy directed me to. So this is like the better growth section of the bed. I mean, the growth was definitely not ideal because they were all going up to flower, so they're definitely stressed from something. But yeah, it looked like there was a marked difference in the growth between. Just straighten out this camera a bit. There was a marked growth difference between the bottom end of the bed and the center. Basically, looked a bit rough. So I took this from the southern side of the bed. So let's just have like a wee scan through here, and see if there's anything like obviously different in the soil. Look here. So this time of year, we should definitely be seeing the full abundance of microbiology. We should definitely be seeing nematodes. It was a really wet day we collected on today. So everything should be sitting out of dormancy. That's not a living thing, but it looks cool. Interesting. I would say that's like maybe the needle from a nettle, quite possibly. It's definitely silica based. I'm not totally sure what it is, but a bit of a plant for sure. So let's see. That's another bit of something else that's unidentifiable. Let's have a look and see if that's a fungal strand. Sorry, the commentary is going to be a bit rubbish. I'm absolutely knackered. But let's see. No, it's not fungi. This looks like a piece of mycelium, possibly right here. The thing on the left, right in the center there, is not mycelium, but this definitely is, so that's nice. Let's have a look. Yeah, very nice. That's the deuteromycetes or ascomycetes or basidomycetes, probably. One of those groups that it belongs to, I'd imagine. So we're looking for that. That's what we're shooting for. We're just shooting for a lot more of it. And we want it to be omnipresent in the beds, ideally. So my understanding is a lot of those mycelial strands belonging to those family, like a large number of them. Mary could probably interject in here, but a large number of them are mycelial. There we go. What's that? That's nothing interesting, I don't think. Well, it's all interesting. It's just something we're necessarily concerned with, yeah. Sorry, what am I saying? Mycorrhizal, even, not mycelial. They're all mycelial. Mycorrhizal, so yeah, something that's bonding with the plant roots rather than just being saprophytic and feeding off organic matter. So that's good. That is a bit of plastic. So yeah, no nematodes thrashing around, not a huge number of, well, very, very few fungi, I would say. We're looking again for like one per field of view. Most vegetables, like, if you can, I think a good starting point is to get the bacterial to fungal ratios like about 1 to 1. And that sort of looks like you're seeing about a strand of bacteria per field of view of the camera, like at 400 magnification. So we're not seeing anything close to that. And then once you've got it to that point, that's when you can really start tinkering around the edges and trying to manipulate the microbiology to be, very specific fungal ratios and bacterial ratios to that plant and what its sort of ideal requirements would be. A lot of bacteria. We'll have a look, and like it's important to have a look at the bacteria as well and see what shapes we can see, because we definitely want diversity of them. So yeah, Not really seeing any protists. Not seeing a single protist yet, which is quite worrying. Single strand of fungi, and this sample is gathered from 10 points in the center of the bed where the growth was. No, sorry, this is actually the good bed, or not the good bed, but it's the bit at the very, very southern side. And so there was 10 points that I gathered from in that bed, and then 10 points where I gathered from in the center, 3 inches down. And apparently 3 inches down does actually give you a good indication of what's happening up to a meter down in the soil. The soil microbiology is going to be very similar, apparently. So that's cool to know. This is not a fungi. Another bit of organic matter, plant root perhaps. Yeah. So let's just have another little quick scan. I'll definitely do some scanning with a more comprehensive commentary later on for sure. Let's do that. Let's like set up a few beds, have a look at any failures. The best thing to do actually would be compare the biggest failures to the biggest successes. I think that'll probably tell us the most, give us the most useful information, like information you can actually act on. So, right, so yeah, no protists so far. It's possible that there's flagellates maybe that we wouldn't necessarily see unless we're at this kind of magnification. So yeah. Also, the structure of the soil looks rather kind of scattered. Not seeing big, nice aggregates. Seeing maybe too many fulvic acids, not enough humic acids. Although Mary would definitely have something to say about that. There's a diatom right there in the center. There we go. Well, let's try and focus on a bit better. Yeah, you can just about see it. That's cool. Dead diatom though. But that's to be expected. They're super common. Yeah, lots of fulvic acids. So it looks like we have a bit of a, well, we definitely have a broken nutrient cycle, I would say, for sure. But these things will improve. I mean, you guys, you know, like once you've now that you've got your bed set up and you're adding amendments onto the top of them, bacteria and fungi will recolonize and reestablish, you know, if you're doing a no dig kind of policy. But you got to keep the microbiology excited, and you got to, oh, there we go. There we go. Actually, that's quite interesting because that's a ciliate there, I believe. Let's just try and get him out of hiding. Yeah, it's a ciliate for sure. If he'd come out from behind a wee bit of organic matter, get a better look at him. So ciliates are basically facultative anaerobes usually. There's a lot of species of ciliates, and we definitely want all species, anaerobic and aerobic species living in soil, but we want predominantly aerobic species. So this ciliate can be by a facultative anaerobe. I mean that a creature that can tolerate low oxygen conditions can produce a set of enzymes that are capable of breaking down its food sources in. There we go. That's a nice shot of it. Kind of like a 4 parts per million to a 6 parts per million range, basically. But if this soil was to become strongly aerobic, which we should shoot for, you're always going to find anaerobic pockets in soil, and like that's really healthy. But most of it should be aerobic for a good gas exchange. Then the ciliates will basically be outcompeted effectively. So yeah, it's shifting through this organic matter, and it's on the hunt for bacteria, spores of fungi. And you can't really see them here, but it does have little ciliates like all over its body, little cilia, little hairs that it uses to migrate around. Quite a powerful swimmer, as you can see. It's actually stuck sort of on the slide, but you can see it's shifting a huge amount of organic matter. So yeah, they're quite strong. But that's good. We need the predators for it's a little bit of fungi here. We need the predators for nutrient cycling. That's really essential. This might be, there's a flagellate there. Do you see that kind of general disturbance? That's a flagellate. So that's good. Another good sign. This looks to be, I think it's actually a cyst. I think it might be a testate amoebae or something encysting. I have to do a time lapse on it to find out what it is exactly, but we don't really, we're less concerned about the things that are going into dormancy because we're interested in what's active and what's actually having an active effect on your soil right now. What's feeding and what's excreting, that's what we're interested in. Another bit of fungi there. A lot of these fungal strands, it's quite interesting to note here, it's not as if this fungi has recently germinated. So there we go. You would see this spore on one of the ends, and it's obvious where it's begun to grow from. So this fungi has been severed, either in the process of me preparing the sample or in the process of the bed prep, basically. In terms of bacteria, it is absolutely teeming with bacteria. Yeah, it's looking rather minerally, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of sort of minerals floating about. Kind of usually an indicator of low organic matter. But I can't imagine that organic matter is actually very low at the farm. This is a, what are you? This is a fungi here. Looks to be not such a brilliant fungus. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's feeding on that bit of fulvic acid that it's attached to at the end there. So yeah, rather transparent glass-like appearance. Nice even structure though, so that's good. Pretty long, not too clumpy. The diameter is maybe like 3.5 micrometers across, which is a good diameter, good size. We're just trying to weigh up all these various characteristics, and that gives you some sort of indication as to whether it's, I don't want to say pathogen, but acting as a pathogen. You know, there is no such thing as a pathogen. It's just a point in time in which an organism is acting because of the environmental conditions that it's exposed to as a pathogen. But it doesn't necessarily mean. I don't think that there's very few obligate pathogens in the world, is what I'm trying to say. Yep. So we got life, but yeah, maybe a bit too many bacteria. Let's actually just like try and get. So these are all the bacteria that you can just see that have like kind of fallen to the bottom of the slide or sitting on the top actually. Should give you some sort of indication of a variety of shapes. I'm not seeing many shapes. I'm not seeing any spirochetes or spirilla though, so that's good. That's good. They're more anaerobic bacteria, but I wouldn't expect to in the soil. That's when there's been some sort of like, you know, real grievous contamination from you know, really anaerobic animal manure or something like that, or like stagnant water. It's another ciliate flying past there, or actually I think it was a flagellate. Seen about 3 or 4 different shapes. Yep, interesting. Another thing insisting here. What are you? Cercozoa. Maybe you're a Cercozoa. I think it is maybe. It's got a double cell wall. And they're characteristically extremely slow, but I think those are little pseudopods that are sticking around the outside of it. So yeah. Cercozoa, that's nice. It's good to see. There's a little flagellate flying past there. So yeah, we need to, none of this is terribly helpful for you unless you know what a really good soil looks like and something that's like really hooching with life. So yeah, it's nice to see all the flagellates though, because they're anaerobes. That's good. But yeah, no nematodes. Bit sad that there's no nematodes. I mean, whatever we find here, we're gonna basically apply the same treatment, which is biological stimulants, more biology in itself. You guys know the drill. But we'll definitely see a change over time if you guys keep up on that. Eating the biology is pretty key. Another thing I was just saying to Daisy that might be worth a punt as well, because you've got some glacial soils, and hold on, she got the app here. I was just looking at the James Hutton maps the other day, because it's interesting to note what your kind of bedrock material is. James Hutton, where are you? Soil Finder. Soil Finder is good, by the way. If you don't have it, it's definitely worth downloading. So yeah, quite a lot of sandstone, I believe, around where you are. Let's just find the actual. So you guys are here. Wait, Ingleson. Right, Cramond. Yep. Semi-natural soils, blah, blah, blah. I can't actually find it, but yeah, I think it's mostly sandstone. Hold on, let me just do this. It's going to be a long rambling video, but let's just do this now. I mean, you probably already know this. It's just for my own learning. So yeah, if it is all sandstone, it might be nice to get some paramagnetic soils in. Seems to be a big deal. I can't explain to you about anything about paramagnetic soils. Other than it seems to be quite key for a proper plant function. You want magnetic soils. But yeah, it'd be something that we should probably dive into and try and at least semi-understand it. So Edinburgh, dun, dun, dun. Let's just see here. This website is absolutely terrible. So yeah, glacial sands and gravels from carboniferous rocks. So yeah. I can't remember what the opposite of paramagnetic is, but paramagnetic. Diamagnetic, that's right. So I believe that carboniferous rocks are diamagnetic, and paramagnetics are, yes, rocks like basalt. So I think they're probably really expensive, but if you can find a cheap source of some sort of magnetic rock dust, that would definitely be worth working. Definitely worth using as a soil amendment, or mixing into compost when you're applying like a top layer base, basically. That's a really good biological stimulant, apparently. So that'd be quite something that you maybe not tried, kind of a bit unusual. But any rock dust is not it. It has to be specifically magnetic. So yeah, guys, we just need to keep building structure. We need to keep stimulating biology, keep feeding it. And you guys know like all the right things to do. This looks like a bit of a feather, by the way. I think that's what that is actually, rather than a. Oh no, maybe not. Who knows? Testate amoebae right there. See him? That's nice. That's cool. Can't actually zoom in anymore, unfortunately. But that's cool. Good to see. So basically, yeah, let's get onto the bioreactors. Maybe do some more quick composting as well. And any fungal foods that you can apply would be a good shout. Because the fungi's there, it just needs to be fed and nurtured. Cool, guys. Right, I'm going to eat tea. I'm knackered. So sorry if that was just like totally a ramble. But yeah, I hope it's kind of interesting for you. All right, bye.